Sirens. Some of you may be aware that on the 13th of November 2024, very specific, I posted a video about how I had bought a 2017 Martin D35 from a very good friend of mine, an Irish singer-songwriter slash YouTuber, Daith. Now, when I bought the guitar, Daith told me that it had been gigged extensively from when he bought it new in 2017, and it featured very heavily on his YouTube channel, which there should be a link on screen / and or in the description for you to go and check out. It's an amazing channel for singer-songwriters in and around Belgium. But because of all this heavy use, he told me that it was probably going to need a refret. So it worked for me at the time, and I thought I'll play it until it really needs a refret. And that time is now, because I've been having some tuning issues, which have kind of been getting on my nerves a little bit. And second is I go away on a tour. As of time of recording this, I go away next Thursday. Today is Friday. So in a week's time, I'll be on my tour, and I wanted to take it with me. I'm pointing at it because it's off camera, reveal later. So I thought now is the time. Now is the time, especially if I wanted my good friend and incredible luthier Simon Calloway to help me out with it. I spent a year doing 1/2 days a week interning with Simon and his colleague at the time, Jonas de Keersel. Big love to Jonas. Learning the art of guitar repairing with a kind of a view on maybe, if I get good enough, maybe I can help out within the business. So to cut a long story short, that plan never came to fruition, which is a shame, but I had an amazing time. I learned so much. I made some really great friends with Jonas and Simon. Now, Jonas flew to Pastures Anew a few months back, doing his own stuff. I'll put some links in there in the description for you to check out. Incredible guitarist. And Simon too is about to venture off into Pastures New. I said that already. Yes, I did. So I wanted to get back into the workshop one last time to hang with him, drink coffee, listen to good music, and to fix a guitar. Like I said, I learned so much from being in that workshop. But the thing that was the biggest lesson that I learned is a guitar luthier, especially a good guitar luthier, and in fact I'm going to extend that to any tradesman or workwoman, is that they are 100% worth the money, especially when they're really good. The time that goes into expertly fine-tuning their skills on woodwork, electronics, knowledge of lacquers, of glues, paints, voltages, capacitors, and that's without taking into account the cost of the particular tools needed for like one particular job. You might have a file that is only used on one string of a guitar that you need on a nut, and a good one might be 30 to 50 euros. And that's just for one tool, for one specific job. Blew my mind. So there's so many different facets of guitar repairs that the average guitar player has no idea about. And I put myself in that category before I learned about this stuff. There's so much of it. And these intricate things can become big problems when one goes for the cheaper options of instruments. Now, so many times I was in that workshop and customers would come in with an issue and it would play out like this. Hey there, I've got an issue with my guitar. Let's have a look. Yes, I see what the problem is. It's X, Y, and Z. Okay, I can fix that, but I need to do this, that, and that. Cool. Great that you can fix it. How much will that cost? It's probably going to be around 250 euros to fix all that properly. Oh. Well, I only paid 300 euros for the guitar. That's exactly why I need to do 250 euros worth of repair on it. Having a cheaper guitar doesn't mean the repairs are cheaper, So it's a delicate balance because us humans, we have sentimental value attached to things that are inexpensive, which is nice, but then sometimes to repair those things costs more than the thing is worth, However, and this is a very important caveat, and comment warriors are probably already halfway through commenting, having an expensive guitar, therefore, does not mean that you won't come across issues that you would expect to have maybe with a cheaper guitar and not an expensive guitar. So many times I saw expensive the big brands of guitars that you would expect to have little to no issues because of the cost of them. And they did, and they had bad sort of simple issues. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was a Fender custom shop, and the frets on it were really bad. I think that's, but you think, oh, expensive Fender custom shop or Gibson custom shop, whatever, that's going to be perfect out the box. No, not always. Going back to what I think my point was, having an expensive guitar or having a cheap guitar, if you want it repaired properly, is going to cost money. Another thing I learned whilst interning there is, and I'm 100% guilty of this too, and this is kind of why I got to know the guys, is trying to do something yourself, making it worse by trying to do it yourself, therefore means you have to take it to someone who then has to repair what you've done and then fix the original problem, making it twice as long and maybe twice as expensive to fix. I mean, you can watch a YouTube video, follow along some diagrams online, and you think, oh yeah, I can do this, yeah. And maybe you can, but maybe you can't. I couldn't. So that's why I wanted to intern with them, with Simon and Yolis, to sort of learn this stuff firsthand, because I wanted to be able to fix things myself. But not fuck them up, We've made a lot of important points in this video, I think, and I'm going to make another one here. I don't think I'm a complete caveman when it comes to DIYing or sort of using tools, but then I know I'm most certainly not the most talented and skilled, pick something up once and can do it amazingly. Having said those things, even by doing it for 2 days a week, every week for a year, I felt within myself I was still years off of being anywhere close to being proficient with guitar repair. Maybe I'm putting myself down a little bit. I think I did some good jobs. I did okay, I think, but that to be at a level where you're like a wizard with it, years away. But of course, having said that, I wanted to do as much on this guitar as I could do, because I enjoyed doing it and I wanted to be involved with my guitar and learn and all that shit. So I pulled the frets out on this guitar. I cleaned the fret slots, which we'll come back to. I started cutting the frets, which is a job that I've done a lot, and I got pretty competent at it, I think. But it's been months since I did it, and I did a few and thought we already have a bit of a tight timeline with this, with the workshop closing and me going away. So I'm like, I don't want to add any unnecessary delays to this. So I did a few and then passed it over to Simon to do. And so Simon basically did all of it. But what does all of it mean when it comes to refretting? Well, let's list it out. I want to be able to do this professionally to the camera, but I've got a list here, so I'm just going to read them out, okay? Deal with it. So what does everything include? Pulling out the frets, cleaning the fret slots, cutting new frets, leveling the fretboard, fitting the frets, which involves clamping the frets down, which you may need sort of a day, half a day to clamp them down to make sure they're glued in nice and tight, not too tight. Then you need to clip off the edge of the frets, round them off, level them, crown them, polish them, and more often than not you'll need a new nut, because if the guitar needs a refret due to heavy playing, chances are the strings would have cut down into the nut. So plus now the new frets are going to be higher than what they was. So even if the old nut worked, now the frets are higher. So you need to counter that with what's normally going to be a new nut, and mine did. So what does that mean? That means taking out the old nut. I'm going to say nut a lot, all right, so deal with it. And slots are coming up too. So take the nut out, clean the slot, put a new nut blank in, mark that off, cut it to shape, make sure it's flat on the bottom of the nut and flat on the bottom of the slot. I know, grow up. And the same, and the right width. Then you need to put in the string spacing. Then they need to be cut, making sure there's no grooves in those to clip off. There needs to be a nice There's going to be loads of videos. If this has been any sort of interest in the process of this, there will be a lot better videos online explaining the intricate details of this. But I'm rattling through them. So the slots need to be clean. They need to be the right height. Then you need to round off the top of the nut, make it smooth, polish it, and then any sort of fine tuning. And all those things is only if everything goes to plan and there's no issues that come up. And being in that shop for the length of time I was, often when you think, oh, okay, this is all we have to do, and then you start doing that, and then other problems arise. So, for example, I mentioned about pulling the frets out, which I did, and I'd done a lot of. But depending on the quality or the state of the fretboard that can get dry, when you pull the frets out, that can often pull bits of the neck with it. It can be brittle. And I did half of the neck, and that was fine. And then I did a few, and it was coming off with bits of fretboard. Now, it's not completely unheard of, but then that means you have to, if the chunk is big enough, you need to glue it back. And we're talking like tiny things that you'd miss, things that you drop and never see again, but are noticeable on a fretboard. So that did happen. So Simon had to step in and help me with that, because that's also a bit of technique of pulling them out, but you can have perfect technique and something can still happen. Then you have binding. The guitar has binding, and the binding was loose, so that's something you need to deal with now. And then when you take the nut out, depending on how the nut was installed, can cause you issues when it comes, if there's loads of glue on it, then there's loads of glue to clear off, which can be annoying to do. Depending on how much was used and the quality of the nut that went in, sometimes it can be really difficult to take out, so that might break. Now, if you're replacing it, that's not the worst thing in the world, but that can cause you more issues of cleanup. Plus, you can use that nut as a reference for the new nut. Lots of nuts. Yeah, all right, grow up. All this, again, to reiterate my point, that Simon is a god amongst men, and good luthiers are hard to find, and when you do find them, pay them the money, because they are 100% worth it. And here she is. She's done. I'm going to set up a little microphone and have a little bit of play so you can hear what she sounds like, and maybe that's happening over the back of this video now. Who knows? She sounds better than I remember her. It's only been a few weeks since I've been playing it, but it sounds so much better than I remember. It plays so much better, and the tuning issues are gone. Now the frets, they aren't the same size frets as was in it before, but I'm not a purist. I don't really care. I want it to sound good, I want it to play good, and it does both of those things. So, and it's my guitar, I'm not going to sell it. It's going to be one now forever, so I can do what I want to it. There's a cat sticker on the back, can you see that? So I put a sticker on it, so who cares? And because of the amazing job that Simon did, even with heavy use, it's going to be a considerable amount of time before this needs to be done again. Like I said, this was bought new in 2017 and at the end of 2025, so that's 8 years later. 17, 18, 19, 18, 9 years. Is it? A long time, almost a decade before it was needed to be done, and that was with a lot of use, so that's cool. Simon, thank you. Thank you for teaching me, thank you for your patience, and thank you for being my friend. And Jonas too, thank you for your patience, thank you for teaching me, and thank you for being my friend. And you, thank you for your patience, for watching this video, for liking, commenting, subscribing, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Have a beautiful day. Love you, okay, bye.